I'm FM and AM 630, Washington's Mall, WMAL.
Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall. 105.9 FM. And AM 630. WMAL.
7:07 on WMAL. Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson with you on a Monday morning. A lot happened over the weekend in the news, especially with the White House. Joe DiGenova, our legal experts on the line. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Let's talk about the president's immigration policy, law, whatever you want to call it, that he announced on Friday, where he said basically there are certain people in this country who are here illegally that we're just going to turn a blind eye, not even turn a blind eye. If they come forward and if they meet certain criteria, then we will allow them to stay in the country. We will not deport them. Can he do this legally without Congress passing a law and him signing that law or signing that bill into law?
The answer is probably yes, but hold on just a minute.
Okay.
This is not an executive order issued by the President of the United States, which has greater authority and power when reviewed by the courts. This is simply a policy announcement by the Department of Homeland Security in which they have said that they are going to selectively enforce the law. The President then gave a speech about it, but it is not his order. It is the order of DHS. That means that legally it is much more vulnerable to a challenge of selective prosecution. It is absolutely true that the executive branch has the power to enforce laws selectively as long as they don't base it on race, ethnicity, or other bases. It's also true that Congress has the authority to write immigration laws. They have done so in this area. Mm-hmm. The DHS has modified it and said we are going to pick out a certain group of Americans, and they are going to be allowed, non-Americans, and they are going to be allowed to stay. Whether or not that is a denial of equal protection to other people in the country legally and illegally, or those waiting in line to get in, is a very interesting legal question. There will be litigation. Who wins, I don't know, but this is very suspect. It is coming as it has after the leaks thing and his bizarre press conference where he denied everything under the sun about the leaks. This is truly the imperial presidency, and it's kind of scary when you look at it.
Well, Joe, nobody is saying that the law that was passed by Congress was unconstitutional, right?
That is correct. Congress has the right, under the Constitution, under Article 1, to regulate immigration.
And nobody, but the Constitution also says that the president has an obligation to take care that laws be faithfully executed.
Absolutely.
Well, he's not faithfully executing the law as written by Congress.
I think it's a very good argument. I'm not sure it wins because courts have also recognized the power to selectively enforce because of scarce resources. The problem the president has, this is where I think you may have a winning argument, Brian. He has selectively enforced, through his Secretary of Homeland Security, a very small area of the law that deals with an ethnic group, which is clearly possibly in violation of the statute that Congress enacted. I think courts are going to give this very, very, very high scrutiny. It's going to require some pretty tough arguments by the government, but it's an open question as to whether or not it's legal.
So, but it also has an age limit to it as well. You can't be older than 30, and you have to be in the U.S. for at least 5 years. So is that not discriminatory?
Yeah, and you have to have no hangnail either. No, the answer is, theoretically, it could be discriminatory, although the courts have given wide discretion in enforcement in the area of immigration. But I have to tell you, Brian, questions like the one you just asked about age limitations and discrimination, those are going to become very big issues in this. This is non-executive order. This DHS policy change is very susceptible to legal challenge. And I think there is at least a 50-50 chance it could be struck down on equal protection grounds.
But does that mean like the Secretary of Treasury or the Department of Transportation Secretary can make policy where he says, hey, certain people don't have to pay taxes, or certain people don't have to adhere to rules when it comes to getting a driver's license, things like that?
No, actually, they can't exempt people from paying taxes because the Secretary of the Treasury doesn't have that kind of discretion. You're absolutely right. Immigration has always been a strange area under the Constitution. where the executive branch has been given wide latitude. For example, Congress has passed laws where they actually set the number of Chinese people who can come in, people from Italy, people from France. I mean, they've actually legislated quotas on admissions, which have withstood constitutional challenge because it's an Article I power. But the difference here is, and you guys have pointed this out beautifully today, it's been a good law class on WMAL this morning.
Thank you.
From you guys. They have done this not by an executive order of the presidency, not by legislation, but by fiat from a cabinet secretary. This is very suspect. I think it will be subject to a legal challenge, and I give it only a 50-50 chance of surviving. But it won't be ended before the election, so the issue will, the next president will deal with this, whoever that may be.
All right. There's a couple of things we need to get to. One of them has to do with Fast and Furious. Looks like all of a sudden Eric Holder's saying, well, maybe I could cough up some more documents if it would avoid this what is it, a contempt citation. Yeah, contempt of Congress citation.
Right.
What do you think?
This is the Boehner fix. The Attorney General did not want to be held in contempt. He also knew that the Speaker of the House does not want a contempt proceeding on the floor of the House before the election. So they sent this letter in an effort to give Boehner cover and to actually create a situation where you have to sit down and talk to the Attorney General if he's willing to give you certain documents in a key area. But let me just say, if Barack Obama is reelected and the Senate goes Republican, notwithstanding the fact that he's reelected, this is not going to go away. This is going to get very ugly. Now, by the way, if they vote contempt, it goes right to the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, Ron Machin, who was just appointed by Holder to investigate the leaks case.
Well,
if it goes to Ron Machin, God bless him, he's a nice guy, but it's not going anywhere.
All right, well, then that's our next question, and that Machin has also been chosen to do the investigation into leaks, along with the U.S. Attorney from Maryland. Joe Lieberman over the weekend, we're going to talk about this in just a moment, but Joe Lieberman says we need a special prosecutor. Is that going to happen?
I don't know, but it should. And here's the reason. I have great respect for both Ron Machin and Rod Rosenstein from Maryland. Rod is a holdover Republican, actually, from the Bush administration, and has done a very good job. But this is about appearances. The Democrats screamed about appearances in the Valerie Plame matter. We just had to have a special counsel. So they gave us one of the world's most obnoxious prosecutors, Patrick Fitzgerald, who basically corrupted the process of the Valerie Plame investigation. But there's going to be increasing calls for a special counsel. The president and Holder are going to resist. And by the way, I don't know if you saw it, but in the Post on Sunday, it was reported that the appointment letter that Holder sent Machin and Rosenstein did not include the kill list New York Times story for investigation of leaks. Of all the ones, that was not included.
I hadn't noticed that.
Oh, this is a big deal. Why wasn't that included? The reason is very simple.
Yeah.
We're talking Tom Donilon, Brennan, the president, David Axelrod, Valerie Jarrett. All of those people would have to lawyer up. This is amazing. This is a big story. Why wasn't the kill list story in the New York Times included in the list of cases to be investigated for leaks?
Inquiring minds want to know.
I think you guys better go get this one. You have the power of the press.
All right. Thank you very much, Joe.